Hey, friends of Two Crones with a Mic. We're back today again with Kristi Pederson. Yay! I'm so excited. Gosh, from the last time, how long it's been? I don't know, what, 2 months
Like
or
2
something?
months,
But
yeah.
oh my God, that's all I can think about having Ramadear back. And thank you so much, Kristi, for being back and making this time available for us. I was so excited yesterday. I could hardly sleep. It's like a kid on Christmas, you know? It's like I just couldn't wait to have you guys back. So thank you so much for making
Thank
the
you for
time.
inviting me.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just wanna say your video is our highest watched video
Yes.
of
Yes.
all of them. It has at the last time I looked, it was like 1,300
It's
views.
1600. It's
16 now.
1600. So yeah,
So
it's up there.
Yay! Yay! I love
yeah.
it. I love it.
Yes, yes. So, well, Indira, do you want to start us off with a little
Yeah. I
short grounding
would
meditation?
love to. Yeah, we all need to be grounded.
Oh yeah, please. Oh
For
gosh, yes.
sure. So let us, yeah, because I'm starting to actually start to feel dizzy now. This
Mm-hmm.
is the moment. Like
Mm-hmm.
Ramadeer is
I
close,
am
y'all.
He's right
prepared,
here. He's
people.
right. He's been hanging out all morning.
Yes.
He is close to getting here. All right. So let us just take this moment to close or lower our eyes, whatever is most comfortable. Remember, only do this if it is safe for you to do so. And as we take a nice deep cleansing breath, let us take our awareness all the way to the soles of our feet. And I want us to imagine, if you will, hoses, just gentle hoses coming out of the bottoms of our feet and moving down in and through the earth's core, grounding us completely to this planet and to this space and time. We are grounded. We are safe. We are keeping our breath even, knowing that the breath tells the body that it is safe or that it's in danger. So the deeper we breathe, the deeper we can allow those hoses to connect to the earth's core and keep us grounded in our bodies in this time. And while we remain grounded and while we remain in our breath, we open our hearts and our minds to receive the wisdom and the guidance and the knowledge from Kristi and Ramadear in this time. So we release our resistance. We leave our resistance at the door and we move forward grounded, safe, open-hearted, and open-minded as we move forward. One more deep breath, one more affirmation and confirmation that we are grounded to the earth's core, to this planet that we are living on right now in this space and time. And so it is.
So it is. Ooh.
We're so
I can
excited.
feel the presence. I can feel the energy already. So.
Same. So before we were chatting just a few minutes, because some of the questions that are going to come up today are some things that Bettina and I have experienced since we met with you and Ramadear last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to share real briefly because Bettina mentioned this in one of our last episodes that like shortly after, like a couple weeks maybe after we met with you, Kristi, I had opened my Akashic records and I had my husband helping me because I tend to get lost in the Akashic records. And so I had my husband guiding me with some questions, and all of a sudden my voice changed, the energy in the room changed, the energy on the phone changed, and I began to speak as someone else who goes by the name Gerard, and indicated that for all intents and purposes, basically, if we needed to know where he was from, he was Arcturian. But that wasn't really important because he was more than that. It wasn't about his, the initial race that he came from, but he was here because he had been working with Eric and I for millennia. and that he was here to guide us, and that by being around you and Ramadear, it kind of opened that channel for me. And so let's say there's other people listening to this, and all of a sudden they start channeling and a being from a different planet. How normal, natural is this?
It's actually very natural. Everybody can channel. It is, and everybody does channel. And when you think about artists, when you think about musicians, and they come up with their work of art, that is 100% channeled.
Yeah.
We just channel extraterrestrials. And
Right.
that's what they're doing too. They just don't understand it. They think it's an innate talent. Well, their vessel, as Ramadear likes to call me, is a vessel. It has the dexterity, maybe, to paint, to draw. A musician might have the right ear, the right math skills to be a musician. So they're tapping into an extraterrestrial that is going through that vessel because they know they have that particular skill.
So you're
Wow.
telling me that the muses of ancient mythology are really extraterrestrial energies.
Yeah.
So what we call like muses, which is like a lower goddess or something like that. Like I'm thinking of Xanadu. if anybody remembers Xanadu from like 1980 with Olivia Newton-John, and she played one of the 9 muses of Zeus. She played, and which are Zeus's daughters from ancient Greek mythology. And they are kind of like goddesses, and they go and they are supposed to help artists, whatever art you do, music, poetry, painting, whatever it is, that's what the muses do. And so in reality, because we know that mythology is kind of sort of based in reality, it's as opposed to being these, I don't know, somebody who looked like Olivia Newton-John in 1980, 1981, it's really more like extraterrestrial energy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because we are all extraterrestrials. We are all seeded from someplace else. And that's, people get so much fear attached to extraterrestrials, and, aliens are going to invade us and kill us, and they're not going to. If they were going to, it would have happened a long time ago. So when people start channeling, they are actually connecting to their families, and it's their extraterrestrial families. So it's like a family reunion. And that's why people take it for granted and feel comfortable with it. And and it's from the different star systems. So it's a family reunion, and you trust your aunt, you trust your uncle, you trust your parents. This is an extended extraterrestrial family that
makes sense.
Yeah, which is identifying you. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because Ramadear has always told me he's my teacher. And then one time it came through, he goes, "No, actually, I'm your father." And I wanted to go, "I am your father." Do a whole Star Trek thing there. And I thought, well, how can you be my father when we are all one? All souls are old souls. And so I was asking him all that. And it's like we broke away from source at the same time. However, he has been maybe on a more elevated or accelerated learning path. And so he's been able to be my teacher, my father, and now hopefully a teacher to many, many others. So when this Gerard that you're connecting to, ask him and guaranteed he'll tell you you're related.
Wow.
I'm blown away.
Yes.
I'm also having a hot flash from hell right now. Like, I don't know if anybody else's body temperature has gone up. I may be grounded. I think the reason we leave our body is because it's so freaking hot in here. Wow. This is incredible.
Wow.
Bettina, do you have any questions before we call in Ramadear?
I do not. I'm just excited
God, I'm so ready.
Are you going to be quiet again, Bettina?
No.
She's got questions today.
I got some questions. I do. I actually do.
I'm going to let her lead with this. Last time she just was, it was the energy. It was the intense energy.
It was the energy.
Yeah. The energy was so intense. And she was just like, I got nothing. So she just kind of let me run with it. But today I'm going to let her run with it.
It was just amazing. Yeah. It was just bathing in the energy.
I have 17 questions. I don't know how many she has. I have 17. I
just have a few. But,
well, and usually I'll have somebody be a timer because he'll only stay for so long and it's to protect me because I get affected by it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But while you guys were talking, he's telling me, he goes, you don't need to set a timer. I will announce the last question.
Good.
Oh, okay. Then we'll probably have to have you back again, which is just terrible.
Who knows? We might get through all of them. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This works. All right, Bettina.
All right.
Well,
Give me a minute, less than a minute. Are we ready to have him come through?
we're
We
ready.
are.
We're ready for yes.
All right. Give me a minute to twitch a little bit and he'll be here. We welcome you on this beautiful spring day. We welcome you with gratitude for having us return to your platform with your curiosity, with your questions. This is why we are here. We love the curiosity, we love the questions, we love the learning that people are stepping up to. They are no longer satisfied with the lives they are living, and they are ready to make significant changes in their lives. They just don't know where to begin. And this is the perfect platform, the perfect place for those to begin, to start making those small baby step changes in their lives, to live the life they came here to live. So we welcome you with gratitude.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome, Ramadear. I'm so glad you're back. And gosh, I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to ask you things and to connect to you. So thank you for letting us do that.
We are so excited to hear your questions.
Okay. So my question is, as a light worker, a lot of times I go through emotional lows, and when I go through that, I have certain thoughts, and I was wondering, are there any other planets in this whole universe where humans in our current forms could exist?
Humans in current form do not exist on other planets. However, there are species that look like humans that inhabit other planets. But Earth is so unique with the ability to have free will that it is almost a stepping stone for those that might look like humans to get used to a human body, but not have the human experience.
Mhm.
And so they will start on other planets before they are ready to take on the challenges of Earth. So we want to address the lows that you have as a light worker. The shifts in energy that are happening right now is what is affecting you, in addition to some of your clients where you have what is called compassion fatigue. And it is helping so many people, and you take on some of their energy as your own, which is causing some of the lows that you are participating in at this time. You simply have to take care of yourself and do better self care, better alternative healing energy for yourself to
Mhm.
help with this compassion fatigue and to help with the shifts of energy that are happening around your planet at this time. Does that resonate with you?
It does. And I have another question kind of piggybacking on that, if I may. So the reason why I'm asking is, and I mean, it may come across as funny, but I do think sometimes if there are other planets out there that could support human life, I mean, some days I have to say I'm ready to leave this planet. So if there's any race out there or looking for volunteers leaving this planet, I'm up for it. And I mean, I know that sounds crazy and it sounds like ridiculous, but there are days when I really just want to leave and I want to abandon this place where everybody is so hateful to each other, where children and animals are hurt and tortured and killed, and it's just it's overwhelming sometimes, and that's the reason really why I'm asking. If there's anybody out there looking for a volunteer human to leave, I'm volunteering as long as I can take my dogs with me. So that's really why I'm asking.
You are not unique in asking this question.
Okay.
Any human being who has an ounce of empathy in them is very sensitive to the energies that you're talking about, with the
Hmm.
hate, the guilt, the greed, the jealousy, the pain inflicted. And they too want to leave. They want this to be their last life.
Hmm.
And when you have and even an ounce of empathy, when you are connected to the other side, in your sleeping state, you are leaving your body to rejuvenate that human energy that you so need. And when you are on the other side, you experience all that is love. And so every day to come back into this human body is painful.
Hmm.
And that is why you constantly want to leave, that you can't take it, because on a nightly basis, you are experiencing pure, unconditional love for all things,
Wow.
animate and inanimate, that exist on the other side. For there is no such thing as an inanimate object on the other side. Everything has a soul, everything lives, everything breathes. And you come down here and you see humans that have no soul, no light in their being, and sending out the low vibrating negative energies that you're experiencing. What we would request that you do is,
Hmm.
when you go to sleep at night, talk to your guides and say you would like to have some of that unconditional love energy stay with you throughout the day. And that is going to be very difficult because you are an enlightened, evolved human being. But it will at least guide you and help you to stay on this planet for the time that you said, that you committed to when you were in spirit form, before you were born as a human being. You committed to a certain amount of time on this planet, and
Hmm.
you want to honor that on a soul level, but you don't want to honor it on a human level.
Yeah.
So ask your guides for help in having you sustain the loving energy on the other side to help you get through until your time to exit is actually here. And that is not anytime soon. We are joyful and hesitant to tell you this information. The world
Um,
needs you. The world needs your energy right now.
Thank you. I will try harder, but thank you. That helps. Thank you so much.
You do not have to try harder. All you need to do is ask your guides
Okay. Okay. I
for
will
that
do that.
help.
I will do that.
Can
Thank
I
you.
piggyback off of her question?
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you can tell Bettina and me about our podcast, our work, that would help us understand what more we maybe need to do to take care of ourselves, what more we need to do with our podcast, with the work that we're doing? Do you have any advice and or even peek into the future of what Bettina and I are to do, either separately or together, together, the podcast for sure, and some of the work that we're doing, but just anything at all that you can guide us with.
You are relatively new at this podcast, and so it is going to be a slow growth. However, we recommend that you keep doing what you're doing, continue to have guests on, because people that follow you will eventually tire of hearing the same voices and looking at the same faces. But you will be the anchors on this podcast. So continue to have varied guests on your podcast. This will be a slow growth, but it indeed will be growth for you that will happen quicker than many podcasts who want instant success. And if you understand that you are in this for the long haul, you will be much more successful by putting that energy out there. As far as self care for yourselves, when you continue to have different varied guests on your platform, it is your education. It is better than reading a book. It is better than taking a class. It is education for both of you. Also, for your self care, we would ask that you do find other healers and other energy workers where you can trade with each other. It does not have to be an expenditure, a financial expenditure for you. You connect with other workers and you do trades with them for Reiki, for healing touch, for hypnosis, for other Akashic record, and you find other healers and just put out the possibility of doing a trade with them, and you will connect with certain souls. Others you will not. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means you need to find other workers, energy workers, who are working on a similar vibratory level that you. Do trades with them. And sometimes, yes, you will have to do financial payments to them, but that is your self care. And what we are getting very strongly, as much as you work with each other on this particular platform, you need to work with other people independently on your energy work.
Perfect.
Does that answer your question?
Very much so. Thank you. Thank you. Bettina, did you have any other questions?
No, I do not.
Okay, I'm ready. The first question that I have is it's a follow-up from the last time. Ramadear, you had mentioned something about hybrid children, and one of our listeners wanted to know, what are hybrid children?
Hybrid children can come in many, many forms, but the form that your person is talking about happens to be with a human, male or female, who has had contact with extraterrestrials, and they have got extraterrestrial DNA in them as well as human DNA. And these extraterrestrials, she is part of a breeding program and creating hybrid children, which is, we hesitate to say half extraterrestrial and half human because all humans are extraterrestrial. But they are working on finding the balance between extraterrestrial DNA and human DNA to create another species to seed another planet.
Wow.
So that's what hybrid children are. And some can only exist on the star system from whence they were created. But as extraterrestrials are getting more and more sophisticated in creating hybrids, they are starting to seed. We are seeing at this point 3 other planets with different hybrid societies to create a population on 3 different planets at this time, although that will continue to grow and change.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Follow-up question to that. When getting like a DNA test, is the extraterrestrial DNA, can it be picked up on by the current medical tests that we have, or is it picked up on as an anomaly, or is it not even register on our current DNA tests in medical field?
It does register on most people, but it is not called extraterrestrial DNA. It is called unknown. And most people, well, we hesitate to say most, many people who have this testing done, and they are curious as to why 2% of their DNA is labeled as unknown. Well, now they know. But we will take this one step further, because there is junk DNA in the body that is yet to be identified as well. That does not show up on some of the ancestral testing that is done. That is where God, source, creator, resides in the human body, is in junk DNA. Now, isn't that what we call hilarious?
Yeah.
That the essence, the soul of who we are, coming from source, creator,
Junk.
God, is called junk.
I've heard that
Wow.
before, that
I
they
have
call
too.
it junk DNA. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so
Wow.
much, Ramadear. All right. So I'm going to go now to the top of my list. Is it possible that we can be taken over by AI? And if so, how do we keep that from happening? And what happens if we actually are taken over? Is it possible?
Absolutely, it is possible. It is also possible in your lifetime. It is happening right now. And it is a fine line before it is introduced to the public. AI has existed for many, many, many years. And it is slowly being introduced in a way that humans will say, this is so helpful. How did we survive without this? To the point where it can take over. But again, it is part of the programming that we receive as human beings. When you look at a smartphone, it was introduced as something that is going to be so helpful, which it is. However, it keeps track of everything you say, everything you are looking for, and it can keep track of you in any way, shape, or form that exists. But humans are already saying, this is amazing. How did we live without this? Imagine back in the day when you had to wait for a phone call and you had to look at a map to drive someplace. So the benefits appear to outweigh the detriment, to the point where people are willing to say, well, that doesn't matter that it can do that because of all the good it offers. AI is exactly the same thing, and that's how it's already showing itself to the human race.
Wow. Thank you.
You
Makes
All
can go
right.
sense.
off the grid to
Mhm.
not be affected by AI.
Hmm.
It's always been a dream of mine.
Yeah.
Bettina wants to leave the planet. I just want to leave the I want to leave the rat race.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to skip over some of the more esoteric stuff first, and then we're going to do the more how do I say it? More like daily things. So I had actually had a vision that our brains are extremely electromagnetic and that we actually do attract what we think about. Like that's the electrical aspect of our brain. So one of my questions would be, how does someone with brain damage, either physical or psychological trauma, heal their brain so they attract what they really want?
This is a profound and brilliant question. We thank you for asking. Not only is the brain electric, the entire body is electric
Okay.
and connects. So when someone has what we call traumatic brain injury, those connections have been interrupted. How they can heal is to work with someone as an alternative healer who is aware of this and can help reconnect the electrical systems that have been disrupted. There are What we are seeing right now is about 6 to 7 healers on your planet that are learning how to do this. We do not see an expert at this time. However, this will change quickly, and we are seeing in the next 6 months that this will become public for people, that someone is learning how, because we all continue to learn how to reconnect the electrical systems that have been disrupted. When you think about plugging in a lamp, you unplug it, the lamp no longer works because the electrical current has been disrupted.
Right.
You can plug it back in. However, if the lining of that electrical cord has been disrupted and therefore the wires have been realigned, it is a completely different process. And that is what is being learned and mastered at this point, is how to reconnect the wire, reconnect the lining around that, and then be able to plug that so-called lamp back in so there is light on again. So those that have disrupted electrical currents right now, they can still connect to source. They can still get what they want. And what they want might be to find out who is mastering the ability to heal that electrical disconnect. So the electricity has really no connection to their connection to spirit. They can still connect. They just needed to be guided by someone to get clarity on what this person wants and guide them through connecting and attaining what they want. Does that clarify for you?
That clarifies very much. And if a human being wants to volunteer to learn that, how do we volunteer to learn that? Or is that already set? Like who gets, like, I would love to learn how to help people reconnect.
We would ask that you connect with Gerard,
Okay.
and he will guide you into that.
Okay.
Because as we were discussing with this vessel earlier,
Mhm.
is that there are collectives all over. You are connecting to the Ramadear collective at this point.
Mhm.
Gerard is part of another collective. And every spirit within each collective will find vessels, human vessels, that have the human skills, whether that be brain capacity, dexterity, to learn new things, to invent, to create, to experience. Gerard will either say, you are the person to learn this, or we can guide you to a person that will be perfect for learning this new skill.
Thank you. And for those of you that don't know, Gerard is the ET that I have started channeling since being in Ramadear's presence. So thank you for that. So to piggyback on that, what is the best advice you can give us about how to co-create with God?
Everything already exists. Everything already has been created. It
Oh,
is now up to you to claim it. That it is that simple, and human beings tend to make things way too difficult. And when we say that, as a human being, you come onto this planet with a blueprint, things that you want to learn, accomplish, experience. And if that is restricted in any way, which it is for everyone, that you think, I cannot win the lottery. I can't. If it's not part of your blueprint, correct, you cannot. Because otherwise, everyone would win the lottery. Everyone would live in a mansion. Everyone would have everything that they ever wanted. If it is not part of the blueprint that you came down here to experience, there is nothing you can do to manifest and co create with God. However, if it is part of your blueprint, it is simply a matter of claiming it because it already exists. And then it becomes almost effortless to claim that because you claimed it before you ever came into this human experience. You already co created with God because you are God. You are a piece of God that already exists. And you are here to have a particular human experience. And it might not be a Lamborghini, it might be a Ford, it
a
might be
Subaru.
a Subaru. The trick is to be grateful for what you do have, for
Right.
what you already have created in your life is gratitude. And that's what opens up the pathway to co create or claim what else is next for you.
Thank you so much. That is amazing. All right, I want to talk about dimensions for a moment because I had an experience of a dimension. I'm going to do the short version. Short version is the father of my child was taken in an act of violence, and several years after we actually lost our child, and I happened to be working in maximum security prison at the time that this person was sent to. So the person who took my loved one's life was sent to the prison that I was working at. So that particular day, that the day after he had been sent there, I go to walk into the prison, and suddenly there is no one around. There is no one there. I just barely get in. I am noticing that everything is kind of gray, like grayscale. It doesn't look like color. And I'm on a prison of 2,000 inmates and 500 staff. And every single day, people have a schedule and no one is there. I get to where I'm supposed to be, and I all of a sudden this gentleman walks out of one of the cell houses and he and I come face to face. In that moment, I very much hear it's time to forgive him for what he did. And so I kind of fight that in my mind. And this all happens in a split second. But it's, you need to forgive him. You need to walk your talk, do this. And ultimately, I came to that place of forgiveness very, very quickly. And And then we just kind of passed, this all, like I said, it happened in a split second. I walk into a space, grab my keys, I turn around, I am in and out in 10 seconds. And I walk out and there are people everywhere, everywhere. So in my mind, I went into a dimension so I could step into that power of forgiveness that was mine to do. Is that accurate? Did I go into a dimension? If so, um, let's talk about dimensions. Like how many, what are they? Why are we experiencing them? And can we eventually control moving in and out of them? Because I had zero control over this.
We want to say that you are not correct in saying you were in another dimension at that
Okay.
time.
Oh, interesting. Where was I?
You are in your human body. However, you are completely connected to source, your soul group. This person that took your loved one is actually part of your soul group. And this was an agreement that at least the three of you had, which is what we will talk about at this time. However, there are others involved in this, that you wanted to experience what it is like to lose a loved one in a way of violence as part of your own soul's growth, your own soul's evolution. This person said, I love you so much, I am willing to help you experience that. So if you think about going to a play and there is the good guy and the bad guy, behind the curtain, you are lovely, dear friends who connect. On stage, when that curtain goes up, you have parts to play. And this was a part both of you agreed to, three of you agreed to play. For the father of your child wanted to experience what it was like to leave the human body in an act of violence. So even though it is a part to play that all three of you agreed to, does not mean in this human form that this individual doesn't need to be punished, doesn't need to be in prison, for they do. That is also part of their experience on this planet as a human being, to experience what it is like to have your freedom taken away from you, to carry around the pain, the guilt, the remorse of taking another life.
Okay.
That is what happened in that particular instance for you.
Wow.
As far as dimensions go, there are an infinite number of dimensions. Many people interconnect density and dimension, and you will hear this happen all the time. And we want to clarify at this time the difference. And let's start with density. Planet Earth is in third density right now, which is everything you touch, see, feel, exists. We are moving into fourth density, which is understanding the connection that there is something beyond everything you can touch, see, and feel. So density is a vibration. That's all it is. Dimensions are different ways of being. So when we talk about past lives, there are really no past lives. It is a term people are becoming familiar with and comfortable with. So even as healers, we use that term. However, every so-called past life is happening right now, because there is no time on the other side. So how can there be past lives? How can there be future lives? It is all happening at the same time in different dimensions. So that is the difference. So a cowboy in the 1800s could be you in this lifetime, happening at the same time in a different dimension. And so you can learn how to have out of body experience, how to astral travel, and you can step into some of these different dimensions if you are ready for that kind of shock, trauma experience. And you really need to be relatively evolved and enlightened to understand that without interfering into that life.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do that at will. If you don't want to do that, you simply talk to your guides and say, I am not ready for this at this time. Please do not allow me in this human experience to visit other dimensions. Does that clarify that for you?
That absolutely does. And so then one of my questions would be then you said that we can experience that. I've been astral traveling since I was a small child. I've been leaving my body, going out into space. I've been kind of almost like an angel in other areas for people, particularly sitting with the recently deceased until their bodies are found, or sitting with people who have experienced a great trauma until someone comes to help them. So I have very vivid dreams in my dream state of doing that. And you said if we don't want to experience that, we could talk to our guides and say, I don't ever want to experience that again. So that is the control that we have. We actually don't have 100% control. Like our higher self can take over at time and move us through something that we have an agreement to do, even if we don't have conscious awareness of it in this body.
You can do that. However, what is probably more effective is for you to tell your guides, I don't want to have the memory of doing that.
Okay.
Because we all astral travel at night, but most people, when they come back in the morning, don't have a memory of astral traveling. As healers or more evolved souls, typically you will have some kind of a memory of astral traveling. It is interfering. What we are hearing at this time for you is that if you were to shut that down, that is interfering with the blueprint of this particular life.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to remember, we ask that you go to your guides and say, please take away the memory of that, of those experiences. And you are not an angel as you think, for angels have never had a human experience. Spirit guides have had human experiences, but you are what we like to call the B team to angels. We have human experiences and yet have angelic energy to help those in need of help crossing over or staying in their body.
I'm an angelic red shirt. I love that. Thank you.
I got a question though,
Bettina,
real quick. As far as blueprint, is there any way to find out what your blueprint is? So you're not like treading water, you know? I mean, it's like I feel like as a human being, we're always trying to make things happen, and maybe that's not meant for us. So if we had a blueprint that we can follow, maybe it would make life a little easier, or maybe it's just not part of the human experience.
It certainly can be part of the human experience. Okay. There is an institute called the Michael Newton Institute. And it is a series of hypnotherapists that have been trained in a particular way to work with people on life between lives and to understand how that blueprint is created, what you are going to or attempt to accomplish in this lifetime.
Good.
And so you could book an appointment with someone who works with life between life hypnosis. And what you might be disappointed in is that it won't be on Tuesday, you must do this. On Saturday, you must do this. Your life blueprint to coming into this human experience is probably to experience compassion, to experience healing, to experience joy, to experience resiliency, because you live on a planet of free will. And so so much is open to interpretation and to the way you were raised as a human and how you choose to live your life. So when you go into this experience, you will find your blueprint is rather broad. We almost said the word vague, and it will not be vague at all, but it will be very broad for you. But it will make sense on all the experiences that you have had. The common thread might be compassion. The common thread might be resiliency. Does that help you understand?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Atlantis and Lemuria. There's a lot of stories about Atlantis and Lemuria that maybe we were all there, or not all of us, but many of us were there. The healing waters, the healing sounds. And the reason that I bring this up in part is because I heard that many of us who came from Atlantis and Lemuria were uh, neither male nor female, and that part of us decided to like split and become male and female and have the experience of having that male and female, which is one of the uh, origination stories of twin flames and things like that. And at the same time, the person that I referenced earlier, my loved one who had been taken in active violence, shortly after he passed, I had a vision, a dream where I got to visit him, and it was very much like I remembered or had seen of Atlantis or Lemuria, where there was water, there were sounds, there were these beings on either side. And he and I spoke for a little bit, and he told me that, you know, he was healing there, and he hugged me. And of course, I felt that unconditional love, and I didn't want to let go at all. Was that Atlantis Lemuria? What is Atlantis Lemuria? And is there any connection to that twin flame story that I just spoke of? I know that is a big question.
Indeed, it is a big question. So we will back up a little bit. And Atlantis was actually a continent.
Okay.
Lemuria was an island. They both did exist. Atlantis and many human beings that are living lives today do have past lives on one or the other or both Atlantis and Lemuria, because we are starting to see the polarity that existed, especially in Atlantis, between technology and alternative healing. And that was part of the demise of Atlantis. Even though it was climate change helped shift that continent on this particular planet, that was part of the disappearance of Atlantis, but it was also the energy of technology losing track of spirituality. And it affected the energy of the entire continent, leading to its demise. And again, many people will say that Atlantis disappeared overnight, and that is not true. It disappeared into the ocean piece by piece by piece in a relatively rapid way, but it didn't happen all at once. And the healers are coming back as healers today in this lifetime and trying to work with technology rather than against it, but understanding the boundaries of how technology can be used against humanity again. And you all see the polarity. And right now, that polarity is expressing itself politically as well in many other ways, but it is still a polarity that one side can't see the vision of the other side. But we will say technology on Atlantis lost track of spirituality, which was the main reason for the demise of that continent. So now we move forward with the twin flame of the person that was taken by an act of violence with you. Twin flame is very much like density dimension. It is got many different definitions on your planet today. The true definition of twin flame is that you are each other's greatest teachers. And that means you come together, you go apart. You come together, you go apart. And this can happen once or twice, or this can be a lifetime of figuring out, because you love this person, you love each other. And that is what keeps drawing you back to each other. And when we say that you are each other's greatest teachers, that doesn't necessarily mean opening a book. It is teaching about life, about love, and to help you on that blueprint path of teaching you compassion, healing, resiliency, joy, all of those things. So yes, indeed, you and your loved one are twin flames, and who came together and left, came together, and then humanly left permanently. But spiritually, you will never leave each other, and you will reincarnate. And again, we use that word loosely. You will reincarnate together many, many times. So when we relate to what we just talked about with different dimensions, you are together already in many, many different dimensions. And as twin flames, however, the roles you play might be friends, might be spouses, might be teacher student. It will express and is expressing itself in many different ways at the same time, which is the draw that you feel to this individual, this spirit. Was that helpful to you?
Yes, thank you so much. All right. What can you tell us about the purpose of our third eye, and how can we open it and keep it healthy?
The third eye is connected to your pineal gland, or pineal gland, as some people pronounce it. Either way is correct. And that is your intuition, your birthright as a spirit, as a human being. The powers that be, as we call them, their job is to have you disconnect and not trust that connection to spirit, that connection to the soul that you are. There are products that you are partaking of right now that shut down that connection of your pineal gland. And people, again, are completely unaware of it because it is a byproduct. One of the main products is fluoride, or ingredient is fluoride. Again, the way it has been created to shut people down, look at the benefits of fluoride. Look what it can do for you. And everybody flocks to toothpaste with fluoride in it, not having any idea that fluoride actually is detrimental to the pineal gland and your connection to God, to spirit, to your soul, your higher self. To keep that open is to understand that that pineal gland by now has been crystallized in most people. You can start to visualize those crystals falling away from the pineal gland, which looks like a little acorn. To help you visualize, it's a very little acorn about the size of a grain of rice. But picture that shape, and it is crystallized now from other products. The main one is fluoride. And you stop using fluoride, you start picturing those crystals falling away from the pineal gland, and you can picture your pineal gland having a heartbeat, and that beat gets stronger and stronger and stronger. You can do that on your own through meditation. You can also go to alternative healers and say, this is what I want to do. Can you help me open my pineal gland? And they will gladly help you do that through energy healing, through sound therapy, through meditation, through visualization. And this is a slow process because it was a slow process for it to crystallize. But you will notice the difference every day, every week, every month, every year of your life, that things will become more clear to you as you begin to trust yourself. Because that's how you are all programmed, is not to trust yourself, not to trust that pineal gland. And so it is multi-layered through society telling you not to trust yourself, that this is right, you are wrong, and you start to believe them as that pineal gland becomes more and more crystallized. You step out of the programming and trust yourself that you are right. You are learning. And then you work on stretching that, decrystallizing your pineal gland, and working with your guides to open that up, and working with other alternative healers. Was that helpful to you?
Oh, very much so. Thank you. Do you have any universal advice that you could give us that would help us move out of our own way, to awaken to our truest self, and to make this life experience more pleasant?
This is a difficult planet. Every life has its ups, its downs, its obstacles, its challenges, and that is why you are here. The one message throughout is, even though we talk about your blueprint being compassion, joy, the reason all of us are here is to work our way back to unconditional love, to work our way back to source. So when you come up with these earthly challenges, these earthly problems, these earthly people that create challenges, is say, how can I show them love? How can I do that? And you connect to your spirit guides. And some people you love at a distance, and some people you love close by. That doesn't mean you have to embrace, kiss, be around people all the time, but you understand that they too are on a difficult journey. So you send them love, you send them light, and wish them well on their way as you step back. And it comes from not judging anyone else on their journey. They are struggling just as you are. They are working hard just as you are. So you love their soul. You might not have to love the individual, the human, or the way they're acting out as a human, but you love their soul, and you understand that every human being on this planet is struggling, is working, is through challenges, just like you are. You start by understanding that in yourself, you love yourself, and therefore you can love others on their difficult journey as well. It automatically will make your journey easier, more delightful, and wanting to be grateful for these challenges that you chose for yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, Ramadear.
Thank you.
We are
And
ready for one more question,
one
and
more
then we are
question.
ready to exit.
Absolutely. How did the universe begin? Was it Big Bang or a thought from God, or is it both and?
It is both, and the universe has always existed as God, as an energy that has gone on forever. There is no beginning, there is no end. When we talk about the Big Bang Theory, that is when spirit or God decided to divide itself. And spirit broke off from God to express itself as an angel, as an extraterrestrial, as a spirit guide, as a human being, as other life forms on other planets, as trees, as rocks, as birds, as cats, as dogs. That is the Big Bang Theory, when God decided to experience everything that has ever been or ever will be in a different form than it existed today. And so spirits broke off from God to help experience everything that has ever been or ever will be. That is the Big Bang Theory in a universe that has always existed.
Wow.
That's powerful. Thank you so
That
much,
is.
Ramadear.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We thank you for your questions. We are so grateful for the thought that you put into your questions. And we know that this information will reach beyond the two of you and your audience. This will ripple out to many, 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 whether they listen to this podcast or not. The energy is rippling out to souls who are ready to receive it. And at this time, we would love to send a ripple of healing energy to everyone who is receptive to it on this planet. Would that be acceptable to you?
Yes, we
Please. Yes, please.
receptive. Yes.
We leave you now with love, with light, with hope.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramadear.
Ramadear, thank you.
Oh, ay, ay, ay.
Are you
It was
okay?
intense, Kristi.
It was.
I think that came right back at me.
That was amazing.
It was wild. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't thank you enough, Kristi, for making this time. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Thank you.
I think I would like to, I haven't even talked to Bettina about, I think I would like to invite you back one more time sometime, maybe like at the end of summer, beginning of fall. Like I know that I still have a couple more questions, but it's not that.
No.
I'm very led to have you back to see what happens this summer and see if we need more wisdom, more Ramadear wisdom.
It's the
Yeah.
wisdom. It's not so much the questions we are allowed to
It's the
ask,
wisdom,
although
yeah.
it's amazing, but it's just the wisdom and the impact.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
he's
know?
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be in person in Independence in September
Yes.
for the expo.
Yes,
So people can
yes.
come to the expo and witness Ramadear in person.
Yes. We're going to advertise that. Yes. Very
In
much so.
Independence, Missouri.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would love to come back again and
Thank
do
you.
this because
Thank
Oh,
you so
the
much.
reason Ramadear and I are partnering is to get the wisdom, get the message out to as many people that are
Yes.
possible that are willing to receive.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're just so blessed.
Oh, thank you.
We're so blessed.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it so much.
I feel like I need to go hug a tree for a minute. Like go
Me
hug
too.
God for just a second. I just need to go out in the front yard and hug God. And like I started having downloads and I started getting a lot of clarity. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I just feel like that those of us who are open and receptive to this knowledge and information, maybe one more time just to let Ramadear talk.
Yeah.
Have an open.
It's not to judge anybody who isn't receptive
No.
to it
No.
because that might be not be on their life blueprint.
Exactly.
It's to stay in a 3D world, and that's what they chose to experience.
Yes.
So we can't judge anybody.
Right. No,
No.
not at all.
Whew.
Thank you, Kristi.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ramadear. Thank you,
Thank
Kristi.
you, thank
That was
you.
incredible.
You're
Thank you for everything.
so welcome.
Yeah.
Bye bye.